What's up, guys? Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to the Attachment Confessions. My name is Chelsea, and I am so honored that you're here with me today for episode 17. From the moment I discovered attachment science, everything about every relationship I had ever been in finally made sense. And now I'm figuring out what it takes to earn my attachment security and have the best possible relationships from now on. Here on the Attachment Confessions, we'll be diving into all things attachment science while you guys tag along on my attachment healing adventure. My hope is that by bringing attachment science to those of you who have never heard of it before, and by sharing my own story, you'll also be inspired to set out on your own attachment healing journey. All right, really quick before we get going, if you could please take a sec to follow or subscribe to the Attachment Confessions so that you always know when a new episode drops, which, by the way, is every other Wednesday. Also, if you could please leave a rating and a review of the Attachment Confessions if you are loving the content, I'd be super appreciative. This helps put the podcast in front of more listeners, and the more people that listen, the bigger the impact that can be made. So please do your part in potentially healing relationships by showing the pod some love. Alrighty, on our last episode, we dove into a topic that is vital in every single one of our quests towards earning our attachment security. And that primary key step is taking accountability for our insecure attachment. You guys, it is impossible to take steps in the right direction of becoming securely attached if we're blinded to our bad insecure attachment behavior. And I totally get it. It freaking sucks to have to take a good hard look in the mirror and admit to our shortcomings. But ignoring reality and death gripping onto our egos isn't doing anyone, especially ourselves, any favors. In order to move forward and finally experience the inner exhale that comes from having healthy, secure relationships, taking accountability for the ways in which we show up insecurely is simply a non negotiable. Progress will never be made in this area of your life if you're living in denial, swearing to yourself and to others that you just are the way that you are and therefore should be loved and accepted as is. Because the truth is, if you're constantly setting fire to your relationships by letting your insecure attachment get the best of you anytime conflict arises, you have no one to blame but yourself. You have the power to take control of your bad behavior and choose a better, more effective path. But it's a skill that must be practiced over and over again until it starts to become second nature. Just like if you want to get better at shooting free throws, for example, you have to practice. The more you're aware of what you're doing wrong and how you can adjust or improve, the easier and more natural it will come to you. Just like leveling up your free throw game, putting practices in place to earn your attachment security needs to be an intentional exercise. And little by little, time after time of practicing the right way to show up in times of crisis, that repetition will create new neural pathways. It's all muscle memory, just like practicing free throws. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it, until it's eventually the way your body responds more automatically on its own. But if you never take that step of accountability, you'll never make it that far. If you missed our last episode, taking accountability for our insecure attachment, I highly encourage you to check it out because it's a prelude to this brand new series we're starting today called Relationship Goals, where we'll be exploring the countless ways in which securely attached couples just hit different, metaphorically speaking, of course. So, to start this series off, the first relationship goal we'll be diving into is how securely attached couples handle conflict. There are many, many benefits to earning our attachment security. One of the biggest has to be the way in which those with secure attachments and secure relationships face conflict. When I hear the word conflict, my body immediately tenses up. I don't like conflict. Most people don't like conflict. And I've come to realize why that is. It's because many of us don't know how to effectively handle and resolve conflict. Think about it. Our attachments are formed in childhood due to the emotional attunement level, or lack thereof, of our parents. How our parents dealt with issues with one another is also something that is ingrained into our nervous systems. The way in which they modeled conflict resolution is how we learned how to handle conflict. Those of us with insecure attachments, whether it be anxious preoccupied, dismissive avoidant, or fearful avoidant, tend to fall within one of two categories. We either witnessed our parents handling conflict in emotionally charged, loud, aggressive, maybe even abusive ways, or we didn't witness conflict at all. How are we then to innately know the best way to handle conflict in our relationships when these are our two primary examples? It's no wonder that couples either fight incessantly or avoid conflict altogether until things inevitably get to a point where they simply can't avoid the built up tension any longer. Neither of these options make for strong, healthy partnerships, though. So, if you want to handle conflict in a way that doesn't lead to total destruction in your relationships, listen up. There's one crucial thing you must do initially, which is you have to come to terms with the fact that conflict is inevitable. All relationships have their ups, downs, and boring middles. But when two people join together in a partnership, it's only a matter of time until the dreaded first fight is bound to happen. And from there, many, many more points of contention for the duration of the relationship. Every partnership encounters stress, miscommunication, letdowns, and disagreements along the way. It just is what it is. So, step one is to stop living in la la land expecting to never have discord with your partner. I know this is a major hot take for my dismissive avoidant friends, although anxious preoccupieds and my fellow fearful avoidants are also guilty of living in a fight free fantasy world too, my former self included. So, when conflict arises, how can we change the patterns our insecure attachments are so accustomed to repeating? Let's first take a look at the typical patterns each insecure attachment naturally exhibits when trouble in paradise arrives. Anxious preoccupieds tend to avoid conflict like the plague. Remember, APs are highly codependent and have a deep fear of abandonment, so they very, very rarely bring up issues they have in the relationship with their partner. Reassurance and validation are their biggest needs, and because of this, they'll morph into whoever they believe their partner wants them to be in order to keep the relationship intact. What's a surefire way to keep your partner? Don't cause problems by sharing how you feel, if it's negative, of course. Just go with the flow, take what breadcrumbs you can get, chameleon into whatever your partner wants you to be, never speak up for yourself if your needs aren't being met, and bam, you'll keep them for life, right? Oh, and if you do slip up by expressing a need your partner isn't meeting, or by sharing any feelings that could come across as negative, when you see that your partner is upset by you speaking up, just fawn like your life depends on it. And by fawn, I mean fall on the sword and apologize for ever having the audacity to bring anything up. How dare you possibly have needs? Your partner simply being in your life should be sufficient enough. Okay, obviously, I am being totally sarcastic. Having needs and expressing your feelings should be welcomed in all relationships. And if your partner is a semi decent person, they should want you to feel as though your desires matter because they do. You matter. Like our anxious preoccupieds, dismissive avoidants also tend to go to any lengths possible to avoid conflict too. This is because their biggest need in a relationship is peace and harmony. When tension rises, they totally shut down. Dismissive avoidants are deeply triggered by vulnerability and criticism, and these are two very typical feelings that come to surface when conflict arises. DAs often detach from heated situations, avoid taking accountability, and hide away for a period of time until they think the storm has passed. They then usually come back like nothing ever happened. They don't want to talk through things. They just want to pretend like the problem doesn't exist anymore. But this isn't actually resolving anything. Your nervous system knows there's unfinished business, and it's only a matter of time until unresolved issue after unresolved issue stacks up like bricks of resentment in your body. And for my fellow fearful avoidants, we know how to throw down. Depending on which end of the attachment spectrum you typically fall, whether you're an FA that leans anxious or one that tends to lean avoidant, that will determine how you handle conflict. But when it's time to fight, we usually don't hold back. We're often described as pressure cookers. We don't like to work through issues here and there as they happen. We hold tight onto each transgression until eventually we blow our top. And when that happens, the gloves are off. We don't fight fair. We go for low blows. It's not pretty, and I, for one, am not proud of how I've handled conflict in previous relationships. But again, now that I've developed such a deep sense of self awareness by learning about attachment science, and I've been able to work on pushing my pride aside, AKA, I've taken accountability for my insecure, fearful, avoidant ways. I'm now equipped to handle conflict in a loving, constructive, mature manner, which is the perfect segue. In a world where insecure couples totally fail at managing problems effectively, how on earth do secure couples handle conflict? First of all, they don't allow issues to fester. Avoiding problems doesn't magically make them go away. Does every little annoyance need to be announced? Of course not. Please don't be that person that's constantly nagging about everything. But if something happens that truly bothers or hurts you, good rule of thumb I've heard from a few different relationship experts is the 24-hour rule. You have 24 hours to speak up and address the issue with your partner. If you don't say something within that time frame, then you have to let it go. In fact, you're making a conscious decision to let it go. You aren't allowed to keep it in your back pocket for the next time they piss you off and say, "Well, you hurt my feelings 2 months ago when you did XYZ," to try to use it as ammo against them. Don't put your partner in relationship jail for crimes they didn't know they committed. Second, secure couples reframe conflict as an opportunity to come together to solve an issue rather than something that tears them apart. They view each other as teammates who love and care for one another and remain in each other's corner, not bitter rivals. When couples approach conflict in this manner, they're able to think more level headed and don't treat their partner like their enemy. They problem solve the issue at hand while intentionally remaining on the same team. Those of us with insecure attachments tend to see conflict as the culprit that pulls apart our relationship. But secure couples see conflict as a bridge to connection that can bring them closer. If we can reframe how we view and approach conflict, we then are capable of having more positive outcomes. When couples remember that having conflict doesn't necessarily mean their relationship is broken, they can soften and lower their walls, turn toward each other rather than against, and repair with compassion. Reframing conflict in this way can actually reconnect the two instead of pulling them apart. Third, secure couples exhibit non critical communication. They take risks of honesty and vulnerability by expressing their wants, needs, or feelings, yet they choose their words wisely. They're able to do this because they trust their partner to hold space for them without judgment. Having the freedom to share openly with your partner is crucial to any relationship's success. When you enter a relationship with an insecure attachment, sharing openly without the fear of being judged, rejected, dismissed, misunderstood, or abandoned is almost impossible. But when two secure people come together, they don't have these same insecurities running the show. Secure couples not only express openly, they also listen carefully and intentionally to their partner with empathy. They don't allow their defenses to take over and listen just to respond. They approach the conflict with curiosity and listen to truly understand. Secure couples are aware that they aren't perfect individuals and are able to handle constructive feedback. They validate each other's emotions rather than rush to defend their own feelings or actions. Even when triggered, they choose curiosity over defensiveness. They give their partner the benefit of the doubt. Instead of reacting immediately, they take a step back, reflect on what their partner is saying, and also how they're saying it. More often than not, our partner isn't bringing up an issue in order to create unnecessary drama or hurt us with their words. By taking a moment to pause and think, okay, I know he or she loves me. They aren't my enemy. Let me listen so I can understand why this matters to them. This mindset shifts things from battle mode to team mode, which is all about solving together, not attacking each other. This practice of challenging our own initial thoughts will allow us to respond in a constructive way that aims toward repair. Speaking of repair, that brings us to our fourth point. Secure couples repair conflict quickly. They don't wait days to cool off. Quick repair prevents resentment from forming, which is key to a healthy relationship. They prioritize connection over being right. Pride is an ugly, destructive character flaw, friends. Secure couples don't allow their pride to trump the success of their relationship. There are way more important things on the line than keeping your ego intact. And secure couples don't let pride get in the way of moving their relationship in a positive direction. Depending on the level of severity, there are certainly some issues that will take longer, more intentional effort to solve. But punishing your partner by removing your access to them and holding out to see who cracks under the pressure first is about as immature as it gets. It's a total power move. Always aim to repair issues together as swiftly as possible. And lastly, secure couples take responsibility without defending. It's in our nature to defend. Survival of the fittest, right? But something that really sets secure couples apart from the insecures is that they're able to own their part without making it conditional. No finger pointing, no blame shifting, just pure accountability for their own actions. It's being able to admit, I messed up, and then expressing what you'll work on and what you'll do differently moving forward. They don't passive aggressively throw digs at their partner or clap back with, yeah, well, you did XYZ to me. They simply own their part, no excuses. Accountability without defensiveness is what rebuilds trust. Trust doesn't happen all at once. It's built over time through everyday choices. Following through on your commitments, being emotionally present, showing up consistently, and taking accountability are all ways that secure couples strengthen their relationship through consistent trust building. It's not about grand, over the top gestures. It's about small, steady actions. Owning your mistakes when the time comes is one of the ways that secure couples build trust with one another. Mastering the art of conflict management is a telltale sign of a secure relationship. That's a goal I'm definitely striving for. Achingly poor conflict management skills on both sides have been a point of contention in all of my previous relationships. But remember, guys, secure attachment isn't something you either are blessed to have or just SOL and don't have. Are there born secures who are so incredibly lucky to have had parents that instilled a secure attachment in them? Yes, albeit rare. But for those of us that formed insecure attachments in childhood, we're still fully capable of earning our attachment security and learning how to handle conflict effectively. It's something that we have to practice, though, consistently. If we want secure relationships, then we have to show up as secure individuals. Having a picture of how secure couples show up in different areas of their relationships gives the rest of us an idea of what earning our own attachment security could look like. And I'm sure I'm not alone when I say it sounds like it would be freaking amazing. Handling conflict in a secure way is just one of the bajillion reasons why we should all strive for earning our attachment security. Like I've mentioned in previous episodes, social psychologist and attachment expert Dr. Sarah Hensley has created her own proprietary no fail conflict resolution plan that she teaches in her Achieving Your Attachment Security online coaching program. It's a step by step guide on how to effectively handle conflict in your relationships and is a game changer. I will link her program in the show notes so that you can check it out for yourself. All right, guys, that does it for today. If you feel like this episode could help someone you know, please share it with them. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will see you all in a couple weeks here on the Attachment Confessions. Love you guys. Bye.